Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Okay, if Patreon's your thing, check out the link below. Loads of stuff on there. Full watch-alongs. Just check it out. There's too much to mention now.
Just check it out.
It's
and you've told them enough times before, I reckon.
I know,
anyway.
but loads of stuff on there. Get down, check it out. Cheap as $3 a month to $5 a month to support the channel. You know what to do. Ohio's 1986 balloon disaster. Now, it looks like we're heading to Ohio in...
Ohio.
Is it June, July?
Maybe August? No.
Yeah, June or July. I think it's July. For the Manchester City got to play over there.
Yes.
So we're going to the Buckeye Stadium. I'm not sure what it's called, the stadium. I did get the name of it yesterday. And it says, tickets going on sale.
Isn't it
Ticketmaster.
like Brian Denny Stadium? Is that the Alabama?
That's Alabama. I'm not buying from Ticketmaster. So straight onto the club. Hey, are you only selling through Ticketmaster? And the guy went, no, we'll have packages. So I said, I don't want a package. I just want a ticket for that game. He went, sure, we can sort something out.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get something.
So when
sorted.
is it?
I can't remember. July, I think.
Oh, it's going to be blooming hot.
I know.
Oh,
gorgeous. I like
Get
it.
a bit of sun. Get a bit of sun on our neck. Anyway, this is the Ohio 1986 balloon disaster. No idea what this is about.
No.
I've seen a bit about this.
But that looks a hell of a lot of balloons.
It does, doesn't it?
It looks like, are they releasing them?
They're just putting them all into the sky, expecting them to go to a certain point and deflate and come back down. But you'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I thought it was a hot air balloon.
No, I don't think it.
No, there's loads of little balloons.
Loads of little
a couple massive ones on the right.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Ohio's 1986 balloon disaster.
In 1986, 1.5 million balloons were released in downtown Cleveland.
Cleveland has now broken the Guinness Book of World Records and released over 1 million.
This was meant to be a charity fundraiser and a way to put the growing city of Cleveland on the map. But instead of being...
You wouldn't get away with it nowadays, would you, with all pollution and plastic in the air and all that?
Well, it's all the birds and little animals that get choke and die from it.
I don't.
Excuse me.
Like when it's seen after, it's such a stupid idea. Really.
But
when you look at it afterwards, a lot of stuff that fails, as soon as you look afterwards, you think, what was you thinking?
You're only doing it to break a Guinness World Record, and
when you look at all Guinness,
how are you going to
clean
up 1.5 million little balloon rubbers on the floor and stuff as well after?
Guess so.
I think they float away and then
It's messy, isn't it?
Trees and
end
stuff,
up all over the place, don't they? It's a lot, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
remembered as an impressive spectacle, it would go down in history as a fatal disaster. The event was called Balloonfest, and it was Cleveland's way of trying to rebrand. You see, at the time, they had a pretty rough reputation, which was exemplified by its well-known nickname. City leaders wanted to prove that Cleveland wasn't a mistake, and that it was well on its way to becoming a world-class city. The previous year, Disneyland had claimed the Guinness World Record for the biggest simultaneous balloon launch. And for some reason, the city leaders thought that outdoing Disneyland was the perfect way to start cleaning up Cleveland's image. Soon after, the United Way of Cleveland developed their ambitious plan to launch nearly 1,500,000 balloons over the city. The event required 6 months of planning, including the construction of a net the size of a city block. It took thousands of volunteers hours to...
Okay, John, get blowing. Yeah. One guy. Prisoners to blow them up, right? That's your job, blowing balloons up.
fill the balloons. And finally, on September 27th, 1986, the day of Balloonfest arrived. As these final preparations were underway in downtown Cleveland, a very different story was unfolding just to the east on Lake Erie. The previous night, a severe storm had rolled through the area.
I do want to remind everybody in part of Ohio, we continue with that severe thunderstorm watch until 1 a.m.
And about an hour before the storm, 2 men had gone out fishing. On the morning of the 27th, the day of Balloonfest, the 2 men were reported missing by their families. Their boat was found abandoned on the lake, and authorities suspected that the men had fallen overboard because of the weather. The Coast Guard immediately began a search and rescue operation. Meanwhile, in Cleveland's public square, over 100,000 people had gathered to witness the balloon launch. The organizers were pleased that last night's storm had cleared in time for the event to go forward. But as the day wore on, the weather once again took a turn for the worse. A major rainstorm was closing in, but the balloons were already filled and ready to go. Rescheduling at this point would be near impossible. So instead, they released the balloons ahead of schedule.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make away, lift off.
Amazing. And the fan is up, and there they go, John.
The Guinness Book of
like a
World
fire.
Records has just been broken in Cleveland. Over 1,500,000 balloons.
There was no doubt about it. The launch was spectacular.
We did it!
It was a tremendous moment of triumph for the city of Cleveland. But unfortunately, this moment of triumph did not last long. The expectation was that the helium-filled balloons would float around for a while before eventually deflating and returning to Earth one by one. But that wasn't what happened.
And the wind has just shifted just enough that the balloons are now trailing fast.
This is beautiful. The balloons are coming back this way.
They're coming back.
The cold air and oncoming rain immediately pushed the still inflated balloons, tens of thousands of them, back down towards the ground in droves. The result was mass chaos.
Balloons, 1.5 million of them, caused quite a stir in Cleveland yesterday. It was part
A
of
northerly wind quickly carried the balloons.
Imagine like aircraft would have to divert and everything, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
I don't think they're going that high.
Depends if there's an airport nearby.
Yeah, true.
Planes start and end
But
on the
I think-
floor.
Yeah, I think they probably would have said before the launch as well anyway that no
And no flights on, but you don't know where they're going. The wind's taking them all over.
If it's taken them like
Yeah,
if
it's
they
true.
let go and they think they're just going up and then they're just going to disperse and they're blowing back, there could be flights coming in that way.
Could be all over the place.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
but
sure
there's only
it's-
going to be flights going into Cleveland. It's only going to stay around the Cleveland area. It's not going to fly like all the way to Detroit.
I'm saying it probably affects a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
of
imagine all
course
these
it would.
balloons coming towards you and you're like in.
Yeah,
an
if you're driving
aeroplane.
and stuff, and all the. What about if you're driving and they
Yeah.
all go on the road?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Or if you're a small child.
Oh, there we go. Aircraft.
stir in Cleveland yesterday. It was
A
part of a
northerly wind quickly carried the balloons to Burke Lakefront Airport, and within minutes, the runways were so clogged that all flights had to be suspended. The balloons also started to descend on certain streets, and after a number of car accidents, these roads had to be closed until a bulldozer arrived to clear out the balloons. As all this was going on, the Coast Guard was still out looking for the two missing fishermen.
Ironically, that big balloon launch in Cleveland today is one of the things that's making this search so tough for the Coast Guard.
Balloons had descended on Lake Erie in massive quantities.
There's 60% of the balloons launched landed here instead of the planned 10%.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack here.
Can you imagine trying to find somebody floating out here or even spotting a life jacket with all these balloons on the water?
On September 29th, 2 days after the balloons were launched, the Coast Guard finally called off the search for the two missing fishermen. And shortly after, both men's bodies washed ashore. Balloonfest was featured in the 1988 edition of the Guinness Book of World Records. However, that was the only edition to include it. And shortly after, Guinness ended the category of balloon launching altogether.
It's crazy, really, isn't it, when you think about it, that they would even attempt something like that? Because Disneyland is quite open.
Is it?
This is, well, yeah. When you go there, it's like roads around.
It's in the middle
it.
of Orlando, but it's still a big city, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Orlando there and the surrounding areas. I think anything like you're launching stuff into the air of mass.
Disneyland
numbers.
did it without a bloody storm as well.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
the storm. I mean, you think one of the first things you look at is how far away from an airport you are and a flight zone, or a flight path, motorway networks, and weather.
Yeah.
Don't know, so it's all the things you look at, isn't it? And think,
Yeah.
right,
Everything's
got to get straight in order.
Weather's hard to predict, though, isn't it? Really?
It just seems a bit daft to do something like that. You could have done something else.
These weathermen know what's happening weeks in advance.
Oh, I don't know.
They know it far enough in advance to sort of say.
But like, it's an easy job to get it wrong consistently and still keep your job.
Yeah, it is. But when you look at rocket launches and things like that, when they launch rockets or spacecraft and stuff like that, it's all weather dependent, and they know well in advance, sort of like time frames when they're going to be. They know when there's going to be trouble or when they're going to be smooth sailing type thing. But this just seemed like, to me, it just looks like a recipe for disaster, letting that many balloons go anyway.
Is they knew that the storm was coming and they thought, oh, let's just let them out early.
Let's go out early, yeah. Let's go quicker. But it seems that it's just the recipe for disaster anyway when you look at that many
Yeah, I
balloons
know.
within such a built-up area.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems a bit crazy. It's a crazy stunt, if you ask me. They must surely whoever's thinking, you know, let's do something to relaunch the city would have been better than like, a million balloons.
Balloons that are going to choke all our wildlife.
Yeah, a bit of a crazy one that, but that's I guess that's Ohio.
Yeah. What I was just trying to think, what show was it that it was based in Cleveland? The Cleveland show.
I think it was called the Cleveland Show, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, it was. Just come to me.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.